think, or like even pursue the idea of a diagnosis with autism and ADHD? What was the like catalyst for that as such?
Yeah, so I think, so I'd always been diagnosed in the past with kind of anxiety related depression, agoraphobia, panic disorder. And I think the more that time went on, I just kind of realized that they just didn't really fit right. So the way that my kind of mental health like manifested, I guess, was that I would have like 6 months of being like fine, air quotes fine, of being like quite ambitious, quite bubbly, quite energetic, wanting to do loads of things, like quite, I don't know how to word it, like just fine basically. And then every 6 months or so, I would just have a big crash and burn. So it would be like I'd become really overwhelmed, I'd become really tearful, I'd have these panic attacks, I wouldn't want to leave the house. That was kind of like a 6-month cycle, and it happened kind of like over and over again. Of like, it happened the first time when I had to drop out of school, and then I kind of got myself better, and then I got a job, and then after 6 months I had to leave the job because I was too overwhelmed from the job. And then it happened with another job, and then I'd been traveling and I had to come home from all of these things. It was just like whatever I did every 6 months, or between 6 months and a year, I would have this big crash. And I think the more that I became really like just fed up with that, basically, because it was just like, you know, I'm doing everything they've told me to do. I'm taking the antidepressants that they've told me to take. I've done all of these therapies that they've asked me to do. I'm reading every single self-help book on the planet of to like how I can look after myself, and nothing is getting me to like where I want to be. It just catches up with me all the time. I think I was feeling really fed up with that. And I think like realizing that, it didn't, the labels that I'd been given just didn't really fit. Like I wasn't an anxious person. I just became really overwhelmed when I had these like lower points. And I think it was like, you know, I'm not necessarily worrying. I just get to a point where everything is too much. So I think it was like just going around in my head of like, that there's something else going on here, but I just don't know exactly what it is. And then I went through a bit of a stage of being convinced that it was BPD, borderline personality disorder, because I think that was the only thing that I'd ever seen like as an explanation or represented on social media as a reason why a woman or a person marginalized for their gender might go from being very high to very low. It was kind of like the mental health side, the bipolar, the BPD. And I was like, oh, that's what I do. I go from having a really good phase to having a not so good phase. Like maybe that's what's going on for me. And I originally started like trying to talk to the doctors about that, and they were just like, no, that's not you. That doesn't fit. Like it's just anxiety. And I was like, it's not just anxiety. But they were kind of convinced that it wasn't that. And then it was just out of luck, really. So I was having counselling. I was kind of like getting to the point where I was coming back into one of the low phases. And I was having counselling through my job at the time. And I brought up a conversation that I'd been having with my partner at the time, like a little bicker we've had. And the counsellor just said to me, has it ever been looked into why you take things so literally? And my answer was like, no, it hasn't. But I think I know what you're hinting at here. And then kind of went away and did loads of Googling and searching on Instagram and TikTok and just whatever I could get my hands on, basically. And I was just like, yeah, this is it. We found the answer here. So I think it was like a combination of the two of like, I was very much in that brain space of being like, something else is going on. I know that something else is going on. I need to find what it is, but I don't know what it is. And then just pure luck